Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. So today we will be making this hat where we change color halfway through the hat motif. Last time we worked on this one, which is a little bit easier. I would say that this is a beginner version and this is a little bit more advanced. So for this tutorial you will need 4.5 Tunisian millimeter Tunisian crochet hook, and you will also need a sport weight yarn. So I've got Scheepjes here, Stone Washed. I'm using two different colors. So I've got Rose Quartz and I've got Tourmaline. For this project, the Tourmaline will be my color A and the Rose Quartz will be my color B. You will also find the pattern on my blog that I will link down in the description box, and the pattern will be also available in my Love Crafts and my Ravelry shop if you would like to support my work. So without further ado, let's dive in. We will start the project with a slip knot. You place the hook inside of the slip knot and tighten it. You will then chain 25. So each square, if you're making the squares, is 25 stitches wide, 21 rows long. So that gives you approximately 6 to 6.5 inches time 6 to 6.5 inches depending on your gauge, and it also depends on how you block your project. So just to demonstrate how the square actually changes, once you finish your square it might look something like this. So you can see that the edges are curling quite a bit. However, if you would like to get to this stage, you will just need to block it and of course weave in your ends. So let's get back to our project. We've got a slip knot and now we chain 25. So to chain you will need to yarn over and pull through. That's your chain 1, yarn over, pull through, chain 2, 3, and so on. So chain 25 and I'll meet you back for row number 1. So I've got my 25 chains. I will then turn my work around. You can see that there are these small bumps at the back. So we are going to insert the hook from front to back under that bump, yarn over and pull up a loop. And that's your stitch. So we will go into each of those bumps, add all the loops on our hook. And as you might know, in Tunisian crochet, you add your loops or your stitches on the forward pass and you work them off on the return pass. So we're going to continue working into each chain and I'll meet you at the end when we start our return pass. Welcome back. We've got all our 25 loops on the hook and now we can start our return pass. We will work standard return pass for this row and for the rest of the rows of the project, and we will do that by yarning over and pulling through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and we will repeat yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across the row until we have 1 loop left on our hook. So continue working yarn over, pull through 2. So this was the first row of our project, also known as the foundation row. Now we're going to go ahead and continue with row number 2. That will be worked in Tunisian simple stitch across, and we will work Tunisian simple stitch throughout the project. So Tunisian simple stitch is worked by inserting the hook from right to left under the front vertical bar. You will yarn over and pull up a loop. You will do the same in the next stitch. So insert the hook from right to left under the front vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And we will continue working Tunisian simple stitches across the row up to the very last stitch where we will work an end stitch. So work all your Tunisian simple stitches and I'll meet you at the end of the row for the end stitch. I've got one last stitch to work before the very end of the row. So I'm going to work one more Tunisian simple stitch Then insert the hook under the last 2 strands of yarn or strands of the last stitch. So you can see that when you turn the end towards yourself, there are 2 strands of yarn. One is on the right, one is on the left. You will insert the hook under both, yarn over and pull up a loop. That is your end stitch, and then you continue with a standard return pass again. So that's yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and keep on working yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across. I finished the return pass for row number 2. Now for row number 3, 4 and 5 we will repeat row number 2. So we are still working with the color A, and we will work 3 rows of Tunisian simple stitch. So go ahead and work rows 3, 4 and 5, and then I will meet you at the beginning of row number 6. Welcome back. So we will now begin with row number 6. So this is the row where we introduce the second color, color B, and you will need to do that right in the middle of the row. So we started with 25 stitches or 25 chains, which correspond to 25 stitches. We have to think about having the edge stitches as well. So we will take 2 away, because as you can see, the first loop is already on the hook. So we will need to count 11 stitches, add color B, then work another 11 stitches and work the end stitch. So this is the math for this row. So let's go ahead and do that together. So I've got the first loop on the hook. I'm going to do 11 Tunisian simple stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So I'm going to go ahead and get my color B. We will insert the hook into the next stitch as for Tunisian simple stitch, add the new color on the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we will only work 1 stitch in this color. So what we need to do, we need to take the long end or the working end and secure it. So you will do that by wrapping it around the color A, and then get the color A, place it over the color B to lock this in place at the back of your work, and work 11 Tunisian simple stitches and add an end stitch at the end. Okay, so this first stitch might seem a little loose, so all you need to do is just to tag on the short end and it will tighten up. So you will then work the return pass, standard return pass, all the way across until the second loop from the hook, from the top of the hook or the tip of the hook, is in the color B. This is where we will need to change color to work yarn over, pull through 2 in the color B. So again, we need to make sure that we lock the color in place to avoid gaps in your project. You pick up color B, yarn over, pull through 2. This corresponds to this first stitch in color B, and then we lock the color in place again by working over and continue with return pass. So this was row number 6. For row number 7, you will do the same, except for you will pick up color B 1 stitch before and then you will add one stitch after this central stitch that we've started with. So for each row where we increase the number of stitches in color B, you will always place one stitch in front and one stitch at the end. So for this row number 6, we had only one stitch in B. For row number 7, you will have 3. For row number 8, you will have 5, and so on, until the point where you've got 11 stitches across. So once you've got 11 stitches in color B across, I will meet you for the next row, where we will then change the colors for the rest of the heart. Okay, so go ahead and continue work another 5 rows, increasing the number of stitches in B, and then I'll meet you at the next stage, where we will change the color for the background and change the color for the heart. So for row 7, I still like to carry the color A at the back of the project. However, once you get to row 8 and further, the floats at the back can become quite big, and it depends on what you're going to use the square or the coaster for. You might not want to have the long floats at the back of your project. So for example, this heart that I worked that is not blocked yet, I changed the color on the left hand side once I was beyond the row number 7. So what you will do, you will add a color A on the left hand side the same way you added the color initially, the same way you added the color B initially. So what you can do is you can work from the other side of your yarn ball. So you might work from the outside and then also from the inside, or you can split your yarn ball into 2, whichever way. So the advantage of this is, if you change the colors, is that you might have a few more ends to weave in. However, the project has got the same thickness. If you choose to carry the yarn at the back for the whole of your project, you will have the center of the project a little bit thicker, because the sides are worked in a single strand, while the center is worked in multiple strands of yarn, and you have one float pair forward and return pass. So this is just something to consider. But if you don't mind the center to be slightly thicker, then you can just carry the yarn A at the back of your project throughout. Once you start weaving your ends, you can lock them in place as well. So this is what I did here. Well, when I weaved in the color B, and I weaved it over the strands of yarn of the color A, and that enclosed them in place. Welcome back. So we are now at the point where we're going to swap the colors. So what I did for this heart, I didn't cut off the yarn when I finished this small triangular section. I just carried the same strand over. So basically we just pulled the last stitch from the last yarn over, place the 2 loops back on the hook, and we change for the color B. This gives us the first stitch in color B. Then we will work 5 more stitches in color B. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we carry the yarn from the beginning of the project to this point, and we will continue with the heart shape. So we will then work 13 stitches in color A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, now we are on the other side, so I'm going to attach another strand in color B, the same way as I attached the colors previously. Make sure we lock it at the back, and we'll then have 5 stitches in color B and an end stitch, and we work standard return pass, changing colors as we explained previously. So you will continue with your return pass for this row, then you will work 2 more rows which are the repetition of the same row, where the section in color A will be 13 stitches across. So in total you will have 3 rows where you have 13 stitches in color A, and in the following row you will have 5 stitches in color A, 1 in color B, and 5 in color A. The next row you will have 3 stitches in color A, 3 stitches in B, and 3 stitches in color A. That will finish up the heart, and I'll meet you at the next row after that. Welcome back. So we've got the heart now worked. You can cut the color A off, and also the color B that you had on the left side of your project. You're not going to be using those 2 anymore, so we only have 1 strand of yarn now in color B. We're continuing with the top section, the border. So we have another 5 rows of Tunisian simple stitch in color B. So go ahead and work 5 rows of Tunisian simple stitch, and then I'll meet you right back after that to show you how to do the bind off. Now we are going to go ahead and work the last row of our project, which is the Tunisian simple stitch bind off. So it's very easy. You're going to go into the next stitch. As for Tunisian simple stitch, you will yarn over, pull up a loop, and you'll pull through that new loop through the one which is already on the hook. You're going to go into the next stitch, work Tunisian simple stitch, pull it through the loop on the hook, and you will do this for every stitch of your project all the way across, including the end stitch, and then you can snip your yarn off, weave in your ends, block your coaster, or you can block your coaster with your preferred method, and then you are done. So if you prefer, if you like adding borders, you can also add the border of single crochet or crab stitch, something subtle, and so it wouldn't kind of overpower the rest of the project. I think half double crochet would also look very nice. Okay, so I'm now at the end of my row. I'm going to get my scissors, cut the yarn, pull it through, and that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to know how to make the simpler version of the heart, I'm going to leave the link in the comment section below. Also link to the blog post about both of these hearts, and I've got another version that I trialed, so I might be doing the tutorial for this version very soon as well. As always, comment, share, like to spread the Tunisian crochet love, and I see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.